How's it going? My name is Nathan Daniel Sharpe from the Spirit of Elijah Kingdom Church, and I'm here to share my testimony with you guys. So, a little backstory on me that's going to come full circle in my testimony. I came home from prison in 2016, and I got my CDL. I started working. I started my own trucking company. I started helping people get into the trucking space. I started a CDL training program where I help people get their CDL. And I was walking in my purpose that God had for me, which was helping people with financial literacy, helping people just period, helping people get closer to God. So in the midst of that, um, I was at an entrepreneurial event in 2020, December 2020. I went to a meetup with a lot of entrepreneurs. We was getting information, and it was at Society Lounge in Hyattsville, or Silver Spring, I think. And so I went there. We always having a nice time, and people was there. We was conversing and networking and things of that nature. And they had an open bar there. And me personally, I come from a long line of alcoholics. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like in my DNA. So at this point, I thought that that I was functioning. I can go out drink responsibly and I'd be okay. But Society Lounge, they got some strong drinks. So anybody looking at this, please don't go there and get the drink, especially not the Long Island. So but I left the Society Lounge that night, and me and my lady, and she went to pick my kids up from my sister's house, so they were following me. So we left the Society Lounge, and I was on the highway. I think it was on 270, and a pickup truck in front of me. It was an accident around the corner, and there was a pickup truck in front of me, and we're on a highway going about 60 miles an hour or something. And the pickup truck that was in front of me coming around that curve, when he saw the police lights from the accident around the corner, he slammed on his brakes. So he slammed on his brakes, I slammed on my brakes, and I ran into the back of him. So they deemed it an accident caused, by accident. So I wasn't at fault for the accident, but we pulled over and the police were already there. So they smelled alcohol on my breath, and they locked me up. And my kids and my lady and them, they was a couple of cars ahead on the side of the road, and I hadn't been in any trouble. I've been in trouble like all my life, but this was like one of the times in my life where I hadn't been in trouble in a long time. I was doing good. I'm helping people. I'm walking in my purpose, and then this happened, and they put them handcuffs on me, and I almost fainted. I hadn't been in handcuffs in forever, which felt like forever for me. So they took me down. I did the breathalyzer, so I did. I walked and everything. You know how they do. And I took the breathalyzer, and he took me down to the station, and he told me that I want to take another one. And I was like, nah. And but I didn't know that if you have a CDL, if you refuse a breathalyzer, then they'll take they take your license. So it's automatic suspension. If you got a commercial driver's license, then you can't refuse a drug test. So, but I didn't know that. Plus, I was still halfway drunk. So he locked me up. I got right out. Make a long story longer. That ended up my lawyer filed the paperwork to where as though we were fighting. So I was able to keep my license as I was going to court. Now I don't wish any harm on anyone. That was in 2020. So for a whole year, for the first year, I did the programs, everything. I did everything I could that I was supposed to do. I did it in lightning speed. And I was still helping people. I'm helping people get their CDL, helping people get into the trucking industry. And that was like my world. That was my way of helping people. So for me to have my CDL on the line to be taken away, that would be a big blow for me. So ironically, the same officer that arrested me was doing a traffic stop on the same highway and was hit by another car. Now, and I feel for him and his family and stuff like that. He didn't die, but he was in some bad condition, and he was in the hospital. So as I'm going to court, he couldn't show up to court. So the courts would, so I beat it in regular court, but the NBA has their own they have their own court system. So this is almost 2 years later, and this case is being stringed along, all while I got to keep my, while I still have my license and I'm able to work and help people and stuff like that. So a couple of months ago, I think in April of this year, 2023, I went up for my last review. Now, he wasn't able to come to the 3 appearances before this time, and they would keep postponing it, waiting for him to get out of the hospital. So this particular time, my date was say on the 30th. They moved it up to the 15th. So I told my lawyer, they sent me a letter, they moved it up to the 15th. I was like, that might be a good sign. And he said, oh, the officer probably is out of the hospital now, so he'll be able to show up. And we got there, it was on Zoom. So it was on Zoom, so we did it was me, my lawyer, and the judge. So we was in there, so I'm looking through the thing to see if he was there, to see if the guy's in there, and he wasn't there. So I'm like, I prayed beforehand. I prayed a lot beforehand. But then, being as though they had all the evidence that was against me, the judge said, I'll make my decision and then I'll come back. So she left us on Zoom left us on hold in a waiting room for like 40 minutes. And it was one of the hottest days, to that day. I had my balcony door open. It was hot. I got the suit and tie on, and I'm in there sweating, and everything's going through my mind. In order for me to do what I need to do and walk in my purpose, I really needed my CDL. For me to get it taken away would be detrimental to a lot of people. So I was praying to God, I'm doing what's right. I'm walking in my purpose. I'm doing what's right. I'm doing what you asked me to do. I'm praying I'm praying prayers that I heard when I was 5 years old. Every prayer I got in me, I'm praying. I'm like, God, look, and you don't understand how long 40 minutes is to be sitting in front of the screen, because I can't leave out the screen or nothing like that. I'm sweating. I'm sitting there, and I can't see her. She put us in this little waiting room, and I'm sweating and I'm praying, and I asked God to just move in the judge's heart or do whatever he felt was in the need for me, not just for me. I asked God, my last prayer I prayed to him before the judge came back was, make the decision be whatever the decision is going to be for me to better serve you. Whatever the case may be, it is, it is what it is. Obviously I wanted to, keep it. So the lady came back, the judge came back on, and she said she got to going through all the evidence that they had against me. And I was like, man, she about to just, she was like, you blew this point such and such on here. You have a commercial driver's license. You can't be out on the road like this. People get hurt. And the officer, I'm not sure if he was hit by a drunk driver or not, but she got to running down all this stuff. But she was like, in the event that the officer is not here, because he's not here, it was something about a signature that was on a piece of paper that wasn't my signature. She was like, I'm not saying that he forged the signature or whatever the case may be. Whatever it was, God was working it out. The officer wasn't able to be there, and I hope he made it out his situation. But I am glad that he wasn't able to come on my case. And she ruled in my favor, that none of it could go against me. So for 3 years, about 2.5 years, I was fighting for my life and my license in the court, thinking that I was past that, but not knowing I gotta be responsible, more responsible in ways, and there's people that's looking at me and everything. Just ain't because I'm legit now. I don't have to follow the rules, and walking in my purpose is bigger than me just helping people financially and stuff like that. Being a role model, being being a stand up and being responsible. So she ruled it in my favor Nothing went against me. It was all stricken from my record as if it didn't happen. And that 40-minute prayer, it saved my life. I think it was big. I think it was the conversation with God that I needed to have for a long time. It was something that I needed. So prayer, I know for sure prayer works in my life. Prayer works wonders. But what I think that prayer did for me was opened up the mercy and the grace that God put on my life for that moment when when the faith of my license, which was the pillar of everything that I was doing at the time. I think that prayer opened up that mercy and grace for God to put in my life. So that was on a Wednesday. They struck the stuff in my record. I beat that charge on Wednesday. On Friday, I spoke at one of the prisons, one of the halfway houses in Waldorf, one of the prisons. Me and another guy spoke to a group of individuals in a drug and alcohol program about financial literacy, about spirituality, God, and being a man and getting acclimated back into society. So right off the cusp of God giving me that grace on my life, I was able to speak to a group of like 26 guys in Waldorf at the Jew House program, and a program that I came through years back, and I was able to share the same testimony with them and give them some insight and let them know how serious it is. So I hope I hope y'all got something from this. That's my testimony, and I know I said a lot of times, but you gotta get cipher through it. But I appreciate it. That was my testimony. I'm Nathan Sharpe from the Spirit of Elijah Kingdom Church, and I love y'all. Till next time.